I think the best part about this whole, first of all, great move by AT&T to do something like this. I think that's very consumer friendly, and I think it addresses a huge pain point because I'm sure a lot of people wanted to, ask for credits or ask for some sort of compensation for the outages that have happened, but like the big hurdle there is calling customer service. You don't want to call customer service, sit on the phone for hour, 2 hours just to get what, 10, $15 potentially. Like awesome stuff from AT&T. But at the same time, sustainability is questionable, and whether AT&T will continue to sustain something like this long term.
Do you think there's a terminus? There's a point where they do away with this?
I think so.
How do you do that, by the way? Are you just going to send out a notification like, hey, you remember that guarantee thing? That's over.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I think what'll happen is, and this is just
And
me.
what message does that send, EM?
Well, so here's what AT&T will do, and I'll put money on this. They will change the parameters for what qualifies as a outage that's deemed worthy of a credit, and they will continue to mess with those parameters and those types of thresholds to the point where only very select few outages will qualify for an it.
They'll just create more, like they'll just move the goalpost or whatever.
That is the T-Mobile playbook. Down to a T. Down to a T. Yeah. I guess I'll just say my opinion quick, because I actually have first-hand experience with this. So it's an objectively good thing, right? Giving customers credits when the network's down. My first reaction when I saw this was, this is kind of a quick reaction to maybe some decreasing customer trust in the AT&T brand. But, it's a good thing. I'm not going to shoot them for it. Yeah, this is something every carrier should do. Now, if you follow me on X, you might know my AT&T fiber was down yesterday and also half of the day before on Friday. So, well, lucky me, I get a credit. Well, so I go into the Smart Home Manager app that AT&T makes me use. It keeps telling me to reset the gateway. It keeps not working, so they scheduled a technician to come in. Technician came, was there all morning. Turns out some critter underground chewed up our fiber cable. And found that out. Took a couple hours to find that out, and so they reinstalled a temporary line. So now we got like a fiber cable above ground, just kind of sitting there until they either install a new line. Yeah, just sitting on the ground around my house for a little bit until they can either bury it or install a new line underground. But our fiber's back up. It's working. Now, what's interesting is they had the technician guy come, and then they had this other guy come, and he brought his little iPad with him, and then he went up to my kitchen while the technician was downstairs working with the fiber stuff installed downstairs. And he said, all right, I just applied that bill credit for you. And then he just tried to upsell us on AT&T Wireless for like 10 minutes maybe, even though he saw on our account that we used to have AT&T Wireless and no longer did. So they sent the technician to fix it. It took him all morning, but he did fix it. He did a great job. They sent this guy here just to basically upsell us on stuff. So that's my little story for AT&T fiber fixing. But they did fix it. They did say they would provide us a bill credit. So
did you learn why people like fixed wireless access? Is that what your experience was?
No, hold on. So during the time where it was questionable, where I was thinking, when are we going to get this back up? I was talking about maybe going to the T-Mobile store and quickly grabbing T-Mobile home internet just as a temporary solution, because the technician wasn't sure how long it would take to be fixed until he found out what the problem was. So I was immediately thinking of that as a backup option, but all did go as planned. It went well. So I'm going to say this worked. I'm going to say this was an overall positive experience. Obviously, it would have been better if it never went down in the first place, but that was the mouse's fault, not AT&T's fault. So, in effect, AT&T is giving us a bill credit for what a mouse did to us.
Tell them to set traps down there next time.
Yeah, no, they gotta cover the cable in like insect poison or whatever, whatever it takes. So I just logged in before we started talking about this because I saw Sneed, you pull this up, and I knew I wanted to talk about this, but they didn't issue us our newest bill yet. But they did say they would give some type of credit. Yeah.
All right, B, jump in.
Well, I think everybody has made good points, and I definitely acknowledge and I agree with much of what's been said. Just like what Ian was saying, I think Moose said it too. I just question how sustainable this is. I do think this is very gimmicky. More power to them, man. At this point, if this is what it takes to maintain whatever lead you have in churn, the delta is 0.11% between first place and last place among the three MNOs. Well, I don't know, guys. This seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. If it starts to affect, AT&T's bottom line to the point where investors start to. How do they mask that? They start messing around. It just seems like a recipe for additional phone calls into customer care, people being upset, issues. It seems like more trouble than it's worth. They were already leading the industry in turn.
B, I think this will lead to less customer care calls.
Yeah, if people get their credits, nobody's going to complain about free money.
Right.
But for how long? For how long, Sneed? Natural disasters are happening more frequently every year. So you really want to take a hit to your bottom line because of an event by God? Come on, man.
And by
Or
the way,
a mouse underground.
As long as the customers allow it, you can't put everything underground.
How much do you think the LA wildfires are going to impact each individual carrier in terms of like how much they have to pay to rebuild? Because this is something that we definitely got to talk about, Chacha. We have to.
Well, actually, the bigger problem is going to be the process. Forget the money for a second.
Right.
When has California ever played nice about infrastructure building?
And to add this to that, it's not like natural disasters are slowing down, guys. I understand and I acknowledge and I respect to Ian's point, trying to take care of the customer. I know that is the right thing to do. I get it. But Jesus, man, okay. I certainly wouldn't think that this is something that all the carriers should do. I don't agree with that personally. These natural disasters are lasting for weeks.
I don't even think it's so that's you're going with the extreme case, but let's look at this from a more practical standpoint, a more realistic, like impact more people kind of deal. If we talk about like the reliability of the service, if I have a fiber provider, by the way, copper doesn't count. They're not offering this to existing copper customers. It's just fiber. And if I'm a customer and I have an outage monthly, I don't even care about the guarantee at that point. I'm out. Right. So I don't know how many customers this is going to actually impact. I think it's for that just occasional one-off where something happens that's unforeseen, couldn't be predicted, fiber cut, and AT&T is going to have it repaired within 24 hours.
That's not how AT&T marketed it though. They trumpeted this to the rooftops. So this doesn't seem like a one-off thing. They want all their customers to know this, which means now that's the standard.